listening to All That with Nikkie and Cat,
a podcast featuring real stories from real people who are real relatable.
Our goal is to bring you entertainment, knowledge, and an inside look on topics in line with health, wellness, and personal growth.
Tune in every Tuesday to join us on our journey. Let's get real. I'm hooked on a feeling. I'm high on believing.
Speaking of being high, I am so high on the positive vibes of this podcast.
Yes, me too.
Vibe high. Oh my
Vibe
God.
high.
The other day, Nikki looked at me, and I always say that her spirit animal is like a happy puppy. It's like when she has that look on her face, she literally does just look like a happy puppy. But she was hugging herself, and she was like, "I feel so good." And it was on Tuesday, so it was right as the new episode came out, and she was just on a vibe high.
I really was, because it just made me feel so warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
When everyone's just showing so much love and support, and I'm like, I don't know. I just stopped, looked outside, and I was like, I feel so good. I don't know. Like I said, warm and fuzzy.
It was adorable.
Yeah.
So this week we had Randi Parrish with us. She was perfect. She fit every single box was checked. She just was very open, honest, just fantastic viewpoint on the whole thing. She geeked out with us. She was super excited to be here, as excited as we were to have her. So it was just really cool to know that feeling was mutual. How do you think it went?
Oh, I think it went amazing. It's cool that her story and everything she's been through literally fits why we started this podcast in the first place. So I think that was awesome. She touched base on everything that our podcast stands for.
Yeah. So she's got a story on health and wellness. She's got multiple stories on personal growth. Plus her life is just really fucking interesting.
Yeah.
So it was really great to have her on, and especially grateful to how open and honest she was with everything. And it was the second she sat in that chair, we were all just girlfriends having a conversation, and she was just wonderful, open, and honest the whole time.
Yeah. And that was awesome in itself, of how open she was to
Right.
sharing her story.
Yeah, she even, the second she sat down, I told her this after, I was the second you sat down, you were just yep, okay, yep, perfect, everything sounds great, I'm so excited to be here, let's go.
Yeah.
And I was fuck yeah, all right, let's go.
And the vibe she sent off was
absolutely.
super positive, and let's go, let's do this,
everything from literally the way she sat in the chair, just curled up, just ready, ready to have a conversation with us.
Yeah.
It was super, super cool. She even, we got an email this week again. So we addressed that during our session with Randi, and she even answered that with us. She talked about bullying. She talked about anxiety, depression, her struggles with that. She talked about her enjoyment of the single life and being able to go and do whatever she wants. And then all of the cool stories of her travels, and her love for hockey, her love for just health and fitness, her career driven mentality, all of it. She really divulged. She was super open to everything that we threw at her.
Yeah.
So definitely very cool. So I did want to, again, shout out all of our social media accounts. So she'll be very familiar with me saying that to you. So it's just about anywhere we're All That with Nikkie and Cat. However, I did want to correct on our Twitter. If you were to follow us on Twitter, it's actually All That WN and spelled out ANDC. So All That WNANDC. And that's for Twitter. Just in case anyone's looking to find us on there. It is a little bit different on there, but everywhere else, All That with Nikkie and Cat, especially All That with Nikkie and Cat at Gmail, because that is our main source of contact with you guys. That's where everyone's been sending in the questions. You can message us right from our Facebook page. That's totally cool. We get notifications from everywhere else. Gmail's just the fastest for us. So weekly update with us. So how's your week going?
It's going pretty well.
Yeah. We all kind of like on the diet train right now. Like we're trying to clean up our diet, make healthier choices this week. So far it's all right.
Yeah.
Going okay. Hanging in there.
Yeah, so that would be like my perk of the week.
Yeah.
It would be that I got my diet back on track.
Yeah. So we're going to start a segment, y'all. It's going to be perks and pet peeves. So like, what's your perk of the week? Like your thumbs up for the week. Something that, you're excited for, grateful for, thought was cool, whatever. And then pet peeve of the week, like what's kind of bugging you that week, like what, anything negative that happened in the week. So, ups, downs, perks, pet peeves.
Yeah. So that would be my perk, is that I got my diet back on track. And my peeve would be that I got my diet back on track. Only because anyone that knows me knows how much I love snacks.
Snack queen.
And it's like, I tell Chris all the time, like I could eat healthy, like actual meals, like breakfast, lunch, dinner. But my thing is snacking. Like that is literally... I can't watch a movie without snacking. Like, it's literally just what I love to do.
She asked me the other day, she's like, so what's healthy that I could eat, like, chips? Like, but not chips.
Yeah. Like, what's...
But, like, I need to eat it, like, just as I'm watching TV.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know why, but I can't watch a movie or something without it. I'm like, because, like, we went to, like, a movie in the park last night.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, what can I get to snack on? Because I can't sit through this movie and not snack on something.
Torture.
Yeah. And then she was just telling me, like, things that I could snack on. And I was like, okay, well, this is stuff I like, so we'll try it out.
Yeah.
It actually worked, so.
Sometimes when I go to the movies, I'll bring, like, grapes or I'll cut up an apple and, like, I'll eat that just because it's mostly, like, the motion, let's be honest. Like,
yeah.
It's, like, the motion of sitting there eating, which makes me really sad to say.
Yeah.
But that's so true. It's just like I just want to sit there and watch my movie and eat.
Yeah.
Damn.
My thing is like especially like popcorn or chips or something really salty and stuff, and obviously that's not good for you. So, yeah, that would be like my peak because it's hard out here.
It's hard out here for a snack queen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess like my perk of the week would be that like it's finally like cooled down. We had a stretch there, which I'm not complaining about, by the way, of like 90 to like real feel of like 100 plus days.
Yeah.
And it was like ongoing for a while, like a solid 3 weeks. And okay, so I don't mind the heat. What I hate is that like I have to have my air on in the house because otherwise the house just gets way too hot.
Yeah.
And I hate having to close my windows when it's warm. Like I hate it.
Yeah.
So my perk is that I get to have my windows open because that's my favorite thing to do. Just like have just a nice fresh breeze through the whole house. Like inside feels like outside. Like just everything feels better with the windows open.
Oh yeah, I agree.
My pet peeve. Oh God. So okay, my pet peeve is that I have to walk around in regular shoes right now, which is really painful because I was riding our bike the other night. And I was coming up the side of the driveway, and I, like, scraped half my toe off, what it feels like.
Oh, jeez.
I might be being a little over dramatic, but, like, it was really bloody. It hurts really bad. And it's, like, my pinky toe. So when I put on regular shoes, oh, God, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's fucking killing me. So to, like, walk around at work all day with regular shoes on makes me want to die a little.
No, that's like the worst toe that you could hurt. Yeah. Because it gets like smushed up in your shoe. Mm-hmm. And that alone can kind of bother you.
I don't have the slimmest set foot. So.
My foot's kind of wide.
Yeah. So it's like not super comfortable. So that's definitely my peeve of the week. I'm really ready for it to be like healed. And somehow like the nail though is like perfectly intact. It was like the skin above my nail is like destroyed and the skin below my little toenail is destroyed. And the polish is like perfectly intact.
Yeah, that's strange.
Weird.
That is weird.
Anyways, so that's my perk and peeve of the week. So again, find us on any social media sites, all that with Nikki and Cat aside from Twitter, all that, WNANDC, to find us on Twitter. Thank you again for all of your love.
Yes.
Like, it's been so amazing. We can't say it enough. Like,
Yeah.
that's all that we've talked about.
Literally, like, even the past couple days, like, I don't know, like I said, I felt so much love and, like, support that it literally made me so emotional that I cried.
She just, like, cried again in my kitchen. She was like, oh, my God, this person messaged me, and I can't even say what they said.
I'm getting teary-eyed now.
Yeah,
like,
I was
I don't know. It's
really
amazing.
awesome. Like, you don't, even if you, like, quote unquote expect something like that, like, you don't expect something like that. Like, you don't, I don't know. So it's really cool. It's cool that people are listening. It's cool that you guys are out there.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it, and it's really
More than you know.
surreal.
Like,
super surreal.
Yes.
So you guys are the best. Thanks for listening. Randi was an absolute joy.
Yes.
So enjoy.
Day.
I always worry about, because that's why I hate getting so close, because I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't wanna
but
sound like that.
nobody's listening for breaths.
True.
But think about it. If you listen to any, like, song on the radio, you can hear them breathe. If you actually listen to it, they're like,
Well, because they're singing, they're not talking. I'm out of breath from talking.
that's honestly
Same.
how I
I
felt.
know that feel.
It's
You
honestly
should hear
how
me
I
on
felt
interviews
last episode.
sometimes.
That happens to me all the time, dude. It just did. We have, like, call scripts at my job.
Yeah.
And, oh, my God, by the time I'm done, I'm like,
Same.
Yes.
all right, y'all. So episode 5, we have Miss Randi Parrish here with us.
Yay. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
So we have tons of stuff to talk about with you, but first off, if those who don't know who you are, let the people know who Randi Parrish is.
Let the people know. So, who is Randi? So I really liked what Sarah said in your guys' very first episode, that she's still trying to figure that out every single day. And I told her that I love that, because I feel like I relate to that too. So I guess, like, a really quick rundown, I am a hockey obsessor. I love to travel. I'm a really hard worker, really loyal and dedicated friend. And that's about it in simplicity. I'm just a really mellowed out, like, chill person.
Yeah,
that's
you are.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's a good word for you. It's just chill.
Yeah. I 100% agree.
Yeah. So when we say who is Randi Parrish, one thing that could be kind of interesting that people may not know about you, especially from this introductory, is that you do have a previous name that you used to go by, and you went through the process to legally change your name.
Yes.
So it was Jennifer. You went to Randi. So enlighten me. Why does one go through that process? Because it's not easy, right?
No, it's not. It was definitely a really not really complicated process. It was one of those things where if you ask 5 different people the same exact question, you're going to get 5 completely different answers. So basically how this came into play, I think it was like my 14th birthday. My mom had told me, so just to preface a little bit, I have an Uncle Randy who is like the most hysterical, incredible person. My mom's really close with him. And my 14th birthday, my mom had told me, when you were born, I wanted to name you Randy after him. And for whatever reason, I was just like, wow, I wish you would have named me that, because I feel like it just suited me a lot better. I never really liked the name Jennifer. I never felt like it fit me very well, but I could never really explain why. And so I had talked to her a few times throughout the years, ever since I was 14, about changing it. But I never seriously thought about doing it. I didn't even know where to start. And so one night last October, I was laying in bed and I couldn't sleep, and the thought crossed my mind again. And I just thought, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And so I went online the next day. I researched everything I possibly could to figure out how to even get the process started. And I found out that I could do pretty much all of it from the courthouse that's right down the street from my work. And I asked like a few other people that had gone through like a first name change and everything, because I didn't know if it was anything like changing your last name.
Right.
And I filed a petition to change my name, and a lot of the process was sitting around and waiting for a court date. But like I had to go get fingerprints done. I had to post it in the newspaper that I was changing my name.
wow.
That
Oh my
alone was like
God.
$90.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would never thought
Yeah.
that.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, you had to post it in the paper?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
altogether the whole process itself was about $400.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, but it was something I had wanted to do for so long, and I knew that it was going to be a big adjustment for a lot of people. My friends took to it like super easily. It's my family that still like calls me Jen sometimes, and I'll still respond to that, you know. But I wanted all my legal stuff to stay Randi, and so before I started the process, I had called my mom, and I was at work on break, and I told her, I was like, hey, so you know how I've talked to you about doing this for the past several years, and I wanted to check with her to make sure that she would be okay with it and like wouldn't be upset or anything, because
Right.
if she wasn't, I wasn't going to do it. And her response literally was just, well, there's worse things you could be doing. And so I went to the courthouse the next day, filed a petition, and just went from there. So I kind of did it like as a thing for her, because it's what she always wanted, but I also felt like that name suited me a lot better. But it also kind of felt like almost like a new slate for me. Like I was kind of almost like not rebranding myself, but it was kind of like a nice fresh start for a lot of different things.
Right.
Especially, yeah.
Just because of the theme of the show, can we ask you how old you were when you officially signed this document? And I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah, so it became official last December, so I was 27.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you would have said 28, I probably would have like peed my pants.
Oh, why?
28 has been
Well,
such a
yeah.
weird year, but 27 is definitely included in that because that's like where the seeds started.
Yeah.
So like, go back and listen. You'll hear all of our
I know
stories
what you're
about feeling
talking about.
28.
I listened to
That's
it.
our
But it was
27.
almost like she
Yeah.
was like going into
The same
28 because
thing,
your
yeah.
birthday's in April, so it wasn't
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you were turning 28 soon,
Yep.
so it was
Yeah.
almost like a fresh, basically what we've said. Like,
Yeah, so like you came into 28 as like this whole new person as
Yeah.
how you came into 27. And
It
that's
is
Yeah,
something
exactly.
about 28, I swear. Because
She
I was
said it.
listening to that and I agreed with you guys.
She
like,
said
something
it.
about
Not
28.
it's true. It's true.
Yep.
It's crazy that we all feel that though.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
So you're yourself now. You seem very comfortable in your skin right now, and that hasn't always been the case. I myself have like read some of your posts about your past and the struggles that you had, you know, as like a, I don't want to say a child, but like an adolescent.
Yeah.
As an adolescent, you struggled with bullying a lot, and I'm sure the counter effects that come with being bullied. So could you just tell me a little bit about that? Like, when did it start? Like, what was the biggest struggle with that?
Yeah, so my earliest memory of when that kind of behavior from my peers started was actually preschool. Yeah. So I used to have like a really solid group of friends when I was in preschool. I mean, like you're kids, it's really easy to make friends.
right.
But I have always been the type of person that if I see someone that's not being treated nicely, like I have to say something. And that alone has really been a big thing with my bullying throughout the years because people don't like that.
Right.
Right.
But when I was in preschool, I remember there was this kid named John in my class, and he was like, he looked older than everybody else. He was really tall, so he was like an easy target for kids to pick on. And one day I decided that I had had enough of that. Like, no one ever wanted to play with him at playtime or like
Aw.
anything like that. And I was like, no, like, I'm not going to let that be a thing. So I started hanging out with him, and then all my friends started picking on me too. And so that's like the earliest memory that I have of it. It didn't so much happen throughout elementary school, but when I got into middle school, that's when it started to really get bad. That's kind of like a year when you're really trying to like figure out who you are well into your like freshman year and everything. So when I was in middle school, it was really hard for me to make friends because I was really different. Like, I dressed weird. I had like a weird sense of humor. You know, I wasn't by society's standards, like cute or attractive, whatever a middle schooler considers that.
Oh my God, I was the most awkward looking female in all of, I'm like, I was ugly until I was like 20. That's what I tell people. I'm like, I don't know.
So I was a really easy target for people too, and I never stood up for myself, and that's always been like the weird thing. Like, I'll always stand up for other people, but I would never do it for myself. And so people found me really easy to be a doormat on. And my mom had always said there was something about me that just attracts really mean people. And over the years, like, I really realized that was true, but I remember, like, something that really stands out to me in middle school that led into a lot of confidence issues growing up was there was this kid that was in a lot of my classes throughout those years. And every time I went to talk to somebody, it didn't matter who I was talking to or what I was talking about, he would yell from across the room or wherever he was sitting, "Shut up, you're ugly," and interrupt me every single time. Yeah. And so, of course, people laughed and people always found it funny. It never got old to anybody. And so it got to a point where I eventually ended up transferring middle schools in 7th grade.
Wow.
And that year was like, 7th grade was the best year of my life. I was like one of the popular kids in my class. Everyone got along. But the thing is like, it was a charter school in Southgate, and I was living in Rockwood at the time. And my dad would take me to school in the morning. Since we didn't have buses, and then my mom would pick me up. And my dad would take me to school in the morning after he would just get home from work at like 4 a.m. And after that year, like, it just got too hard on them.
Right.
So they made me transfer back to my old school. And the very few friends that I had when I left there acted like I didn't exist when I went back.
Wow.
So imagine, like, being in 8th grade. It's a very awkward time.
Yeah.
So I really struggled to try to rekindle some friendships. I struggled to make new friends. And then high school came along, and high school is when, like, the bullying was at its ultimate, and then along with that came anxiety and depression. I was very first diagnosed with anxiety when I was in 5th grade.
Oh my God, that's so
I know,
young.
isn't
Yeah,
that
is.
insane? But, like, so I don't want to, like, go into too much detail, but there was something that my brother was involved in that was like a total freak accident, and I ended up getting bullied at school for it, even though it was a situation I was not there for.
Right.
But, like, my gym teacher ended up telling a lot of her classes about this situation, and so people came after me because people claimed to know someone else that was involved in this.
Wow.
There was this one girl that every time she walked past me in the hallway, she would push me into the wall. And, like, at my high school, we had this, like, jagged concrete wall that everyone called the death wall.
Oh,
because it was, like, really sharp. And she would, like, push me into that. She'd put my face into it. There was that. I mean, there were a lot of instances that happened in high school that led me into, like, a really deep depression. And it was back then when I was facing all those situations that, like, I got to a point where I didn't want to be here anymore. Thankfully, I'm very blessed when it comes to my mom. Throughout all those years that I was, like, facing all those trials and everything, she always made sure that I was always getting the help that I needed. But back in high school, when the harassment was getting really, really bad, that's when I started, like, hurting myself. And there was this one day that I was, like, I remember so distinctively I was having this really horrible day. And I wrote my friend this note telling her that, like, I was having this terrible day and I wanted to go home and I wanted to kill myself. And I'm just being blunt with you guys. I told myself I was going to be transparent with you all.
No, yes, for sure. If I'm just staring at you, I'm just very interested.
It's really, like, weird to reflect back on now at 28 and thinking, like, wow, I was in that mindset before.
Yeah.
But I wrote her this note, and I trusted her with it. And I don't know if back then if I actually would have done anything. Looking back on it, like, with how much I already was doing to myself, I don't know. But, I mean, I guess the possibility is always there. It was a long time ago, so. But I trusted her with it. And then when I was in my next hour, I got called down to the guidance counselor's office. She ended up bringing that note to the guidance counselor, which, that's great and everything. But I remember this guidance counselor basically talked down to me and acted like I was ridiculous for writing this note, made me feel very small.
Like, instead of being, like, supportive,
Yes.
like,
Concerned?
you know, yeah, concerned,
They made me feel like I was an idiot for writing this note. And so I ended up missing the next 2 days of school because I remember I got really sick with like the flu or something, and it was like a Thursday and a Friday that I had missed. And I came back that Monday and I walked into my first hour, and I got to school late that Monday, and I walked into my first hour and everyone's looking at me and I hear whispers, "Oh my God, she's alive."
Oh, wow.
And I'm looking around, I was like, this girl told everyone about my note.
Oh my God.
And back then,
See, I thought that was a good friend. Now I'm like,
Right. And I'm sorry if she's listening to this because she is
no,
on
that's
Facebook.
what the hell? I was about to call her Neville Longbottom, and then I was like, Neville would never do that.
Oh gosh. But so like at that time, yeah, I thought she was a great friend and everything, and I remember I was very taken back by this. And back then, like, bullying and kids committing suicide over bullying was not as heard of a thing back then, like how it is now.
Yeah.
Right, that's...
Yeah. So back then, since it was such an uncommon thing and people were already making fun of me for like every move that I made, it made me even more of a target. So it was just...
Because it was just one more reason why you were different.
Exactly.
Kids don't like different.
They don't. And they still don't.
Kids are little assholes.
True. So yeah, and I mean that's just a very run over. Like those are a lot of the situations that stand out in my head. There's way more than that. I know that there is.
Yeah,
but
I mean, and obviously, like those are deep rooted things. Like you remember these people's names. Like
I
you
do.
remember their faces. It's something that like, as far as you've come and as high as you are up above that, like, it's still something that is always going to be with you.
Yeah.
But I feel like you have, like, you wouldn't be who you are today without
Yes.
that. So
in a way, like
Yeah.
it was horrible to go through at that time, but I don't think that I would be the person that I am right now sitting in this room if I wouldn't have gone through all that. And, you know, there were a lot of things that I faced in my adult years too. I mean, I still do. I still go through depression episodes every now and then. Like sometimes they last a few days, sometimes they last a couple months. But, you know, I always tell myself, you know, like I've been through this before. I've gotten through it plenty of times. I've been doing this a long time, and I just have to remind myself that, like, I know it's going to pass. So
right, so you're stronger now.
Oh,
you're stronger and
absolutely.
you're more experienced with it.
Yes.
So I think those are definitely key for sure. So you did mention anxiety. Is that something that you still struggle with on occasion?
Yeah, that and depression, a lot of the time they do go hand in hand. Not always, but a lot of the time they do. And I know that that's going to be like a lifelong struggle for me pretty much. But I'm very grateful that like even over the last like 2 years, I have worked on myself so much. I have changed in so many ways. And even though I've struggled with the anxiety and even depression for such a long time, I've learned so many ways to kind of get through it or keep it under control. And just being able to use all the tools that I've learned from like different doctors over the years even, you know, just being able to implement all of that has really helped me get through those like really difficult episodes that I get.
So like what is something like day to day that you use as like a tactic to get yourself through those times?
So my biggest thing that I use is music.
Okay,
that's a good one,
So
yeah.
that's my biggest one. I really love listening to instrumental acoustic music. And then if I'm like really feeling out of it, I listen to disco music because you can't be in a bad mood listening to disco music. That was a recent discovery that I had, so I've been using that a lot. But I also really love to write. I've been writing for a really long time. I've just recently, within the past few months, really started kind of getting into poetry a bit. I read a ton of poetry books. So I used to write it a lot back when I was younger, and so I've kind of been trying to ease back into that too. So.
Who's your favorite poet right now?
Amanda Lovelace.
Oh, okay.
She is the one that like writes those books, like The Princess Saves Herself in this one, or The Witch. What was it? The Witch Doesn't Burn in this one, or The Witch Burns in this one. Something.
Okay,
I've only
so
read
it's
that
like
one
reversal?
time, but yeah, but like her poetry is just absolutely incredible. So
Cool. I have to check it out. What was her
Yeah.
name?
Amanda Lovelace
All right,
is
cool.
her author name.
Cool. So I think, so what's another avenue? So you said music.
So music and writing are like my main
Yeah,
ones.
music, writing.
And then really just trying to get outside a lot more. Just really taking a step outside and taking a breath of fresh air.
Michigan
helps
summers
so
right now.
Yes,
We
yeah.
gotta soak it up while we can, ladies.
Absolutely. I've been trying like all sorts of different things. Like last weekend I went out on a boat with some of my friends. Just being out on the water is so relaxing. This coming weekend I'm going on my very first hike.
Oh.
It's only 3 miles, so nothing impressive. But
Hey, that's
I've
still-
never
that-
gone hiking,
yes.
so I
No,
really want
that's-
to try
that's
it.
a big
Yeah, I
deal.
saw about
Yeah.
your boating trip on your Snapchat.
Yeah.
So, Jen's big on social media, and I feel like all your stuff's public.
No, it's all private.
Oh, okay, just kidding.
All of it's like on lockdown. So.
All right, well, it's interesting. So if you're one of the in the know, check it out. So another thing that we definitely wanted to talk to you about, something that, again, if you're in the know and you're on her social media, she has been very open with, is your weight loss / fitness journey. I feel like that's played a huge role in like your self-acceptance now, because you just really get to know yourself and your body and what you're capable of, and you just get really comfortable with your own skin.
Yeah.
So just enlighten me a little bit about that. Like, when did you first start like your fitness journey?
So it will be 2 years this December.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Seems
Yeah,
like
it is.
yesterday.
So I have been very on and off the fitness wagon for
As
like a
are-
few years now.
As are all of us.
Yeah, but the thing is I always tell myself it's okay if I fall off of that wagon because eventually I'm going to get back on it, and one of
Right.
these times it's going to stick. And finally it did. I haven't been as consistent with it the last few months. I will admit, like I still go through my struggles. But I started hanging out with one of my best friends, Sammy. I'm sure you guys have probably seen her on my social
Yeah.
media, but she's really into like fitness too. So 2 years ago, she had a Black Card membership at Planet Fitness, and she was really into like working out and everything, and I was just like, I'm gonna try this. So we were gym buddies for a minute.
Okay.
And then I realized I don't really like having a gym buddy.
I don't either.
Yeah, me
Oh my
either.
God. Can we like side note on that? I like to work out alone.
Yeah, me too. But our schedules
Unpopular
also didn't mesh
opinion.
that great either.
Yeah.
So, but we were really good with it for a while. We both go to different gyms now. Like I go to about 3 different ones now. But just being able to have her there for the start of when I was going to be consistent with it helped a lot. But eventually it just like our schedules made it too hard, but we still held each other accountable for like getting to the gym and proving that we were there.
That I like.
Yeah.
I just like to work out by myself. I don't mind accountability stuff. Like, we can talk about it. We can text each other all day
Yeah.
about it. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
But I like to work out alone.
Like, did you go to the gym today?
Yeah, because it's hard. It's
We
hard
actually-
to find, like, getting yourself to work out consistently is hard enough.
Yeah.
You don't need to add, conjoining schedules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
We have a Snapchat group, me, her, and our friend Allie, and
Okay.
we like send snaps of each other like at the gym to show that we were there. We'll show like what we're eating, and we're all trying to
that's
get
cool, yeah.
we're trying to get in shape for her wedding right now. So
Right. No,
so
that's
because I swear if I gain
Yeah,
like
for
one more pound, I'm not gonna fit into my bridesmaid's dress anymore.
no, that's cool because that's like support, and
Yeah.
that's you. That's a huge part in fitness. Like you need the support.
Yes,
You really
absolutely.
do.
So something that really helped me, I'm a very visual person. And so literally I would go to I work out 5 times a week. The
Okay.
biggest part of my weight loss though has been changing my diet. So when I was living in my last apartment, I kid you not, I was eating fast food all day, every day, several times a day. And like my biggest nemesis was Taco Bell. And
Oh yeah.
listen, I would alternate all the Taco Bells in the area so that I wouldn't go
Oh my
to
God, yeah, I saw like a story. You were like, I could never return to this.
yeah, so there was this one day I was working from home and I went through a Taco Bell drive-thru by my house, and I pulled him to the window, and the guy was like, I usually don't see you here till later. And I looked him dead in the eyes. I didn't even crack a smile or anything. I was like, don't ever say that to anybody that comes through this window ever again.
I don't want anyone to feel like I feel right now.
I don't think I've been back to that Taco Bell ever since. But that was like a big wake-up call for me. Like, okay, shit's got to change like now. So that's when we started going to the gym and everything. And so the biggest thing about like being motivated and everything is you have to find what your niche is. You have to find what you really enjoy when you're working out. So for me, my favorite is Zumba, which apparently is like not the cool thing to do anymore. They don't really offer a whole lot of classes anymore.
Whatever, Zumba's fun. So.
I love it.
Get the DVDs.
So yeah, there's a lot of videos on
house.
YouTube too.
Yeah.
But I go to classes every Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like a fairly good sized class. So like I do that, and I've also really come to love spin class.
Oh,
You
I've
can see
always
a
wanted
pat-
to try
I was gonna
that.
say, I'm intrigued by spin.
You guys should go with me.
Yeah.
One day.
Do they have
I would
Soul
be
Cycle around here? You would know.
I have no idea. I've never looked into Soul Cycle, so I'm
I
not
think
sure.
that would be cool because it's like
I'm sure they have
I just
it.
want to
like,
walk out of there
somewhere.
just like yes.
But
It
what
is a
is
lot of
the?
fun.
But yeah, no, I'm
is
totally
there a
down. Let's go to
difference?
spin.
Like, is it?
It's like spin class with like Gandhi messages. Like basically they like talk to you and uplift you the whole time.
That does not sound like something I would want to do.
That's Soul Cycle.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
what's
okay, my
spin
knowledge of
class?
Soul Cycle is from listening to the Almost 30 podcast / I Feel Pretty with Amy Schumer.
Oh yeah.
Okay, side note, that movie was amazing.
Was it not? Oh my God. Nikki and I went in and I was like, I'm not even trying to fuck be here right now. Like, I'm not even the biggest Amy Schumer
Nikki,
fan.
I was like
not excited
dying
for
through
this
the
at
whole
all.
thing.
And then like we got in and like 5 minutes in, I was LOLing for
Yes.
real. Like it was so good. And then like I like teared up a little and then I was like,
yeah.
It totally made me cry.
Yeah,
and I was
so-
not expecting that.
yeah.
I don't like Amy Schumer, so
I'm
it
not-
like
yeah.
pained me to give her my money, but it was so worth it. I love that movie.
Yes, for sure.
But Spin is like you're on bikes and everything, but it's
Okay.
just loud music,
oh.
and it kicks your ass.
Yeah. So there's an instructor, they tell you like up, down.
Yeah, like you'll
okay.
sit, you'll stand, you do like push-ups on the handlebars and everything. It's really hard. But it took me a little while to really get into it because you have to find a class that you like too. Because I was
Right.
doing it at a different place for maybe like 2 classes, and I was like, yeah, I don't like this.
Oh,
but my
okay.
friend Penny is like insanely into spin class, and she does weights like 3 times a week. She's lost like a shit ton of weight over the last year, and I'm like super proud of her because she looks incredible.
Michigan summers, windows
Yeah.
cool guy driving by. No,
but
yeah,
she,
so let's go to spin.
yeah, she goes to spin at Workout Warehouse in Riverview, and that's where I go. So.
Oh,
Cool.
So,
So,
it's like
Riverview's,
close.
yeah, I was gonna say Riverview's not far at all.
So I'm totally tagging along next
Cool.
time.
You
'cause
absolutely should.
I've been
Yeah.
so interested, and I don't know where to start, where to
I
go.
don't want to go by myself. I would like to go with someone that knows what the fuck they're doing.
Well, that's different than going to the gym. I feel like
Yeah,
you.
because you're in a class and there's
Yeah.
an instructor and everything.
well, yeah, but still,
'Cause-
I don't know. It takes so like, but then also like I guess I don't know. I'll be
Well, I'm
super
saying,
vulnerable
like,
because
it's-
you guys do know what you're doing. But I guess if you're gonna be
didn't
vulnerable with
always,
us,
though.
I owe you one.
I didn't
right?
always
So.
know what I was doing. I just did my first spin class like a year ago. So
Only, like,
I've
a
been
year
doing
ago.
it for a while now, but like when I did my first one, I had no idea what the hell I was doing.
Right.
It was just like, great, I'm just
See,
gonna
I'm
pedal
gonna
and
be
hope
the
for the
Amy
best.
Schumer. That's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna walk in there and I'm not gonna have shoes.
But if you're
I just
going
wear
in
I'm gonna
with
fall
this-
off the bike.
No,
if
like
you're
you
going
can-
in with that thought process,
you're gonna suck.
yeah.
I don't know if that was supposed to be supportive or not, but
Just do it.
anyways, I just wanted the support. That's all. Okay. Jeez.
Well, if you guys go with me, you'll get the support, I promise.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Okay, so you talked about you used to be like a fast foodie, and then how was that transition? Like, what did you was it like a cold turkey? Like you were just like, all right, going to Whole Foods tomorrow, like.
well, I've never stepped foot in a Whole Foods in my
either. I
life,
just thought
but
it sounded cool.
yeah, it was pretty much cold turkey. I literally decided one day that I was either gonna go all in or I wasn't gonna do it at all.
Right.
So I allow myself like one cheat meal a week.
Okay.
It's usually on a Friday or Saturday, just depending on what my plans look like. Because if like, I'm
Right.
going out with people, I'm not gonna have like a grilled chicken salad. Like
Right.
I'm gonna have a burger. So I'm a little bit more lenient about it now. Like if I'm like really craving something that's not good for me, since I'm not eating like that all the time, I'll allow myself to have it. Because the thing is if you crave it that bad, you're going to keep thinking about it. And then when you finally get it, you're going to binge. And that's when it gets bad. So for the most part, I still eat very healthy. I still work out 5 days a week, whether as you can see, I'm a big fan of cardio, but I try to get weights in there too. So it's really just finding that equal balance. But yeah, for the most part, I just decided like I'm gonna go to the store. I'm going to follow like a really, not like a strict meal plan. Like if I use the word diet or meal plan, then I'm gonna lose all motivation. But just keeping in mind like how much progress I've seen over the last couple of years. I've been at kind of a plateau for a while, but I've lost 30 pounds.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you look
That's
fantastic.
awesome. You really do. Yeah.
Thank you so
you
much.
You can definitely tell, like, you look amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But once you start seeing those results, and like the biggest that like always make sure that you take progress pictures so that you can see that difference, and then that's going to keep you going.
I was just going to say, when you start to see it yourself, because you know, you hear people say, oh, you're losing weight, but you feel like you're not. But when you start seeing like your pictures or your pants are getting bigger, you're like, oh my God, like I have to keep going. Like this is awesome.
Yeah. I ran into this one girl like, it was probably about like 6 months ago now, but it was a girl that I hung out with a lot a long time ago. And when I first showed up, I was at a show. I felt like I was reliving like my teenage years. But like I saw her and I was like, hey, and she didn't even recognize like who I was at first. And then like I had to tell her, I was like, it's Jen, you know. And she's like, oh my God, where's the rest of you? Wow, thank you.
I ditched that bitch, she gone. That was Jen. Or you could pull
Jen's
Taylor
dead, Brandy's
Swift.
here
Yeah.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, I feel like whenever I hear Taylor Swift in your head, like you like pop up in my head.
Because my post that I made.
That
The
or
old Jen
Paramore.
can't come to the phone right now because she's Randy.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you're 28 now? 28. Okay, so you're 28. So you're in your late 20s, living the single life. Single success, I think, is like, those are like the words that pop into my head when like Randi Parrish, single success. Like that's like what I think of, is because like everyone wants to be you when they grow up. So like, I mean, you're career driven, like, okay, I mean, without mentioning specifics, because, you know, unless you want to name drop, you whatever. But so like with your career, like you kind of like started and just have blossomed this into something huge. And I feel like, at least like from the outside looking in, like you love like your job, you love going to work every day, like you take great pride in it. And I mean, that's interesting to me because I've never found that. So I love to know what's on the other side of that.
Yeah, so just to kind of like give you a little bit of an idea of how I got into my job, I'm not going to name my job, but so I used to work for a transportation company, and I worked in their call center, and it was literally like the worst experience ever. And I tell people at my job about this all the time. But I was literally working like 70-hour weeks because I would pick up and cover shifts whenever people called off because I was in such a financial struggle. Now, I think that was when I first met you. I was in a very bad financial place. I never turned down overtime, never turned down like picking up people's shifts. I would work like a 10-hour shift and then go sleep in this couch in our break room for like an hour and then clock in for another 8-hour shift to cover for somebody. It was terrible. I remember what led me into my job now. I was living in my really shitty, rundown studio apartment at the time, and I called my mom one night in hysterics because I was really unhappy with where I was in life. I was going through a depression episode, and I was just like, I always expected a lot more than this from me. And I literally told her, like, I would rather be dead than living the way that I am right now. Like, I couldn't afford groceries. I was going to work just to be able to pay my bills. I was completely house poor. I did not have any money to spend on myself. And so at that point, she was like, okay, you need to come live with me. And so, like, I stayed there for, like, the last month of... It wasn't a lease because I was on a month-to-month, but I wanted to stay in there for at least a year. So I stayed there for a year, and then I moved back in with my mom, and then that's when I was like, right, I'm going to try to find a new job. And I literally just mass applied to like every customer service representative position in the Metro Detroit area. And my current place of employment happened to call me. And
How many years ago was that?
I will have been with my current job 6 years this January.
Oh, wow. It's been that long.
And now working in their human resources department, I have no idea how I got in. And I told my director that too, because from what I remember, I didn't do any research on the company. Like,
Right.
I was a 22-year-old and I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I needed a better job. So I started working at my current place of employment, working in their customer service realm. I got my first promotion the day before my 1-year anniversary there.
Nice.
Yeah, I got moved up into like a senior role and then executive, and then got promoted into like a coaching and a training role. Did that for a couple years, and now I'm working over in their human resources department.
Wow.
So it's been an ever-growing journey. And as much as I hated my last job, it gave me the tools that I needed in order to even get my foot in the door at my current job, because it is not easy to get in there.
Right.
And I didn't realize that at the time. Like, my previous place of employment, when I told them, like, hey, I'm putting in my 3 weeks notice and I'm going to go work here, they were like, do you realize what a big opportunity this is? And at the time, I didn't. Now that I've been there for so long, I see how hard it is to get in there and everything. But at the time, I was just like, yeah, whatever. Like, they're going to pay me better. I don't care. So, I've really grown in my career there. I absolutely love my job. I have never, this sounds so unrealistic, but I have not had a single day throughout the last almost 6 years that I've just woken up and didn't feel like going to work. And not a lot of people can say that.
No.
No.
Hashtag goals.
Yeah.
I never thought that I was going to be one of those people.
Right.
And my job is not for everybody. I hear people talk bad about it from time to time.
Yeah.
It's definitely not for everyone, but I was very lucky that it was for me, and I found a place that I want to be in for the long haul. So
And you get to see dogs every day.
I get to see dogs.
It just looks like a really fun place.
It really
is.
does.
Like
It
it
is.
just, I don't know.
It's
I
a
always
good
see you
time.
having a good time. So
Yeah,
that's
it's
cool.
a lot
Like
of
dress
fun.
up days and stuff.
Yeah, we have like spirit weeks and stuff like
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry. So you mentioned that you moved in with your mom. You don't live with your mom now? No. So that means that there must have been an up and up with that. So like, did you like save up to move out, or like once you got like your job, you were just like peace them out? Like, how did that come about?
Just thinking back about what happened. So I started my new job where I was making way better money, and I was taking a little bit of advantage of living at home. And as I mentioned before, I'm a hockey obsessor. So my mom found out that I spent $500 on a single game playoff ticket on one ticket.
Who was it for and when?
It was the Red Wings. I want to say it was against the Boston Bruins in the playoffs. So, I mean, it had to have been about 5 years ago.
Did they win?
I can't remember.
I was gonna say it was
that you
worth
spend
it,
that
but
much
damn.
money on a ticket. I better remember every detail of that game. But she found out that I did that, and she came in my room one night and she's like, I'm not doing you any favors by letting you live here anymore, so you need to find an apartment. And I remember at the time I was so mad because I was like, I'm going to all these hockey games and I'm spending all this money. I was like living my best life at the time. But like at the same time, I understood because I wasn't going to learn like any sort of financial independence, making better money and then living under my mom's roof. So
Right.
I did end up moving into an apartment, and I lived there for 3 years.
Okay.
And I actually moved back with my mom last summer because the plan was to live with her, get my student loans paid off, and then I was saving up for a condo. And I got my student loans paid off last year, and I eventually decided that the idea of owning a home does not appeal to me. It's too permanent. And I don't like anything that's too permanent. I mean, like, I like to rent where I live. I lease cars.
Yeah.
My track record at my job right now is I've gotten a new position every 2 years. So I don't like, I've moved up in those, just to clarify. Going over to human resources, that was my decision. But I've come to realize I don't like anything that is permanent, which kind of falls into the whole single thing. I don't ever see myself getting married or anything.
No.
Like, I honestly don't know if I ever want to. because I don't
There's
like.
nothing wrong with that.
No,
though.
there's not.
No, I
There's
think it's
not
a
at
cool
all.
viewpoint. So like
Yeah.
enlighten me a little bit on that. So like what about it like doesn't like what doesn't or does appeal to you to have that preference?
I have never really been good with relationships. I'm just not the relationship type. I mean, like, if anything does ever happen with somebody that makes me change my mind, then that's cool. It happens. But it's not something that I'm, like, ever really seeking out. I also just get bored with people very easily, which has always been a huge fault of mine. But, like, I really like just being on my own and being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I
Right.
don't like feeling obligated to do other things for other people. I want to do it because, and I mean, I guess in relationships you don't feel obligated, but you know.
I mean, you do. If you're not with the right person, you will. The whole thing will feel awful.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
I completely agree.
Yeah, and so it's the thing is like if I do find somebody, I have to like you more than I like being on my own, and I like being on my own a lot.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
just always kind of been my mindset. I don't know.
No, I think it's fucking cool.
It's
I feel
not
like it
the
goes with
typical
whole, like,
norm, but
yeah, I feel like it goes with the whole like boss babe thing. Okay, so like, do you ever deal with backlash from that? Because I know that like having a different viewpoint on things, i.e., preferring to be on your own versus everyone thinking that you don't, like that it's.
I think all my friends that I hang out with on a regular basis, which all of them are in serious relationships or they're engaged, I'm literally like the token single friend. And I'm cool with that. But they all know how I feel about it. They never give me crap about it. My mom knows how I feel about it. And I mean, my mom is technically a single woman too, and she loves being on her own. And I think a lot of it kind of falls into my parents' relationship too, because like growing up, like my dad has not been in my life for like several years now. But like even growing up, like my parents never acted like they were married. So I almost feel like, you know, essentially the first real relationship that you see in your life is your parents.
Right. Yeah.
And that gives you an idea of what a relationship is supposed to be like.
Yeah.
They never acted like they were married. Like that wasn't, so when I used to like really be into like the whole like dating scene and everything, whenever guys did things for me that was like normal, I would be like, wow, you are so clingy, you know, and I hate that. And that's all on me. And I know that it is.
No, for sure. I feel like we talked about before on an episode, like you're programming your child's brain. So like that's going to be what's normal, be it that, I mean, you're older now. So like, you know, like what is and isn't classified as, you know, quote unquote normal.
Yes.
But that's still going to be the underlying impression.
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely. And like if I ever do meet someone that I really do just like have that chemistry or I really click with, like as I've said, like I'm a constant work in progress. I am absolutely willing to work on that for the right person.
Right. Right.
But at this point in time, like I'm not looking for that person. If it happens, then it happens. If it doesn't, then that's fine too. So
Yeah, I feel like that's a cool place to be. Like, you're not putting that pressure on yourself.
yeah, absolutely. The only thing that sucks is like when all my friends want to hang out and stuff, and I'm like the only single person. Like they're all talking about going on this canoeing trip, and they want me to go, but it's all couples going. They're like, well, we need to find one more person because it's 2 people to a canoe. I was like, I'm out. I'm not going.
Not sticking me. So, have you ever had someone like pair you up with someone?
No.
No.
My friends know I don't want it.
Okay.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
At
for
least
sure.
they're supportive because
Yeah.
could you imagine like, oh, I'm gonna set you up on a blind date? Like,
I absolutely would not show up.
yeah, that's super cool to have supportive friends like
Yeah.
that because you hear all the time like families like, when are you gonna get a boyfriend? And I want to eventually have grandkids, but because you mentioned that your mom is like independent, so
Right.
you know what I mean.
She loves that I'm like that. Like,
Yeah.
she loves that I am
And
such
that's
an
awesome.
independent person. I was not always like that. I used to have like huge separation anxiety from my mom. I never wanted to do anything on my own. When I was in like high school, I was like the complete opposite of how I am now. I was like, wow, that boy was nice to me. I like him a lot, you know? And now I'm like, wow, he was nice to me. So cool. Like, be nice to me and then like leave me alone. I always tell people I'm more of like a cat than a dog. Like, just give me the attention when I want it, and otherwise just go away.
No, I'm definitely a dog. Like, I need like that closeness and like
Yeah.
pets.
No, I don't want that.
Love me.
Okay, so we talked about your love of hockey, and that's brought you to like travel a bunch of places. So for those that don't follow you or know you, like, where's your favorite place to travel?
Chicago.
All right. I was like, humor me here.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a whole lot of flack
Yeah,
for that.
actually, Nick and I went on our first trip to Chicago a few years ago, and I, like, messaged you, and I was like, hey, girl, like, tell me the deets on these Chicago trips. You were like, I think you told us to, like, get that, like, ticket pack or something like that. And that, like, had
there's
all
like
of,
a ticket
the-
pack that you can get to like visit a lot of the attractions that are down there, like the planetarium, the museum, like different things like
And
that.
if
Yeah, so
if
we got
anyone's
that.
gonna ask anyone, it would be her, because she would probably know the ins and outs of that place.
I just
Yeah,
I love that
absolutely.
city so much.
You ever went to the Blue Chicago?
The what?
The Blue Chicago?
No.
No? Go there next time.
Okay.
And I said, oh my God, did I get to suggest a place to you? Nick and I were just walking
Yes.
down the street like,
There's a lot of places there that I haven't been because typically when I'm going there, it's like for hockey games
yeah,
or
it's
like
like booked up.
the Blackhawks convention that I'm gonna get crap for, or like I've gone there like for concerts and stuff too.
Okay,
so.
cool. Yeah, so your trips are like blocked out basically.
Yes,
Check it out though, it doesn't open till 11. So it's like
I will keep that in mind.
nighttime one. So it was really cool. We
Now,
went in there,
have
there was
you-
like live music and stuff.
Have you traveled there by yourself and with people, or?
I've gone by myself. Technically, I've gone there by myself. I do have a friend that lives down there.
Okay.
So when I was going down there, like for conventions and sometimes games, and then I went and saw the Chainsmokers down there last summer. I met up with her at Union Station, and then
nice.
typically I stay with her and her roommate. So
Oh.
I've never actually gone there and stayed there by myself, but I have wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think that'd be like very freeing.
yes,
Yeah.
it will happen.
Do you take the
eventually.
train or do you drive?
I've driven a couple times, which it's not a bad drive out there, but I do prefer the train just
Yeah.
because it's like I can just chill.
Parking's a
And,
bitch.
oh my god, it's terrible.
Yeah. Like I ain't trying to drive in that. You can drive in it because you drive in it every day. I mean like Uber or wherever.
Yeah.
Uber, taxi driver.
Now, are the streets as crowded as people say? Like,
Oh god, yeah, they are. They're really bad.
I've never been there. I've always wanted to go, but I've heard horror stories about traffic.
When you go there, like, so typically when I take the train down there, my friend that lives down there doesn't have a car, obviously, because
Right.
you can walk everywhere.
Right.
They're
So
public,
bizarre.
Their public transit down there is so good. But you know, we can take like the orange line somewhere, or like I've taken the red line down to is it the White Sox down there? I don't really follow baseball.
Oh my
It's
God,
the White
it's like, don't put
Sox.
that on me. You're the
It's the,
I think
it's the White Sox.
I just know
Yeah, I
the
think
Cubs
so.
because, side note, I like the Cubs, and so I bought this shirt and it said Cubbies, so I thought it was cute. But every time I wear it, I feel like it looks like it says Chubbies.
No, they're down in Wrigleyville, so the White Sox are like on the opposite side
Yeah, okay.
of
so
the
they're,
city.
Like arch nemesis.
Yes.
Nazis.
Yeah, White Sox fans and Cubs fans do not like each other.
I think it's so cool to have two, though. I wish that we could implement a second one, like in
Yeah.
Detroit, but it would be so hard.
it would.
It would be so hard because everyone's like super hardcore sports fans.
Yeah.
here.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think a lot of it also depends on like what side of Chicago that you live on too, from
Yeah.
what I understand. I mean, I'm not like a Chicago guru, but I just like
Close enough.
I
You're,
know people.
You are the Chicago guru of the podcast. So whenever we have Chicago questions, be like, "Hey, Randy, where you at?" Okay, so because we talked about like bullying and like depression / like, I hate dropping that word, but like suicide attempts, stuff like that. I did want to ask you how you felt about the new show that's out. So 13 Reasons Why. Have you watched it? What do you think about it? I just wanted your take on it because it is so hot right now.
Yeah, I've seen the first season and then I watched like a couple episodes of the second season. And I literally just watched the first season maybe like a month ago because I read the book a few years
so
ago.
it's fresh then.
I hated the
I
book.
didn't know it was
yeah.
about. I didn't know it was based on a book.
Me either.
All right,
It's
so I
a
haven't
book
watched
by
the
Jay
second season
Asher.
either, so our conversation will match up a little bit. And then
Yeah.
I watched the first season about a year ago.
Yeah.
I don't know, so I just want to know your thoughts on it, and then I'll tell you. mine.
So, I mean, I didn't really like the book, so I wasn't that eager to watch the show. I like that it centers around a lot of very realistic things. Since it's been a while since I read the book, I couldn't really remember if a lot of the show went off of the book or if they were just throwing a lot of like extra shit in there because like they just signed on for another season too, and I'm
Yeah,
just like,
that's-
how are you doing that when it's based off of a book? Like you're just making things up now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there were a few times during the show where it made my stomach turn a little bit. There was a specific scene that literally made me get sick. But overall, even though like the show is not one of my favorites, I do appreciate the message that it's sending. But my whole thought process on like the show, even though like it's not doing any harm, I feel like there still has to be more done, and I don't know what that something would be. But I still feel like bullying and kids committing suicide over bullying is still such a common thing. Like a TV show that makes people aware isn't going to fix anything.
Right.
I think a lot of it really starts at home, which is a big reason why I always tried my best to really be kind to people and include people that weren't included, because that's how I was raised. Like my mom is like one of the most kind and genuine people ever, and I learned from that. And I'm not saying that like kids that are little assholes have like asshole parents all the time, but you know, they're not sometimes, yeah, absolutely. But they're not being taught like how they should treat people. They're not being, what's the word? I guess punished the way that they should, because things are a lot different now than how they were when we were kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that's just real fact. But I also think a lot of it happens and parents don't know about it. I think there's a lot of things that go on in school walls that parents don't know about, and like their kid acts like a little asshole in school, but when they get home they're a little angel.
Right.
So it's just...
And I feel like a lot of parents nowadays, they're like, oh, they're just kids.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I feel
no,
like
those kids turn into adults.
Exactly.
Well, that, and it follows them home now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like when we were kids where, like, you got a little break. Except for, of course, when we were in, say, like, high school, there wasn't really that break because we're at that tail end, you know, transition mark with that. But, like, these kids' parents, for the most part, like, don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if they
Right.
got bullied in school, they went home and they had that full, you know, 12 to 15 hours to, like, forget about that and heal and process and whatever. And now it's like you never, till the time you go to bed at night, possibly. These
And
kids
I'm
are
not
being
saying that I've
subjected to
always
it.
been the nicest person, because I haven't. I still have my moments where I can be a bitch too. You know, I'm a human being. It
No,
happens. You know, and that's just human emotion. But I've also always been the type of person that I'm never afraid to admit if I was wrong. I'm never afraid to apologize to people, which I think is a huge thing with a lot of people. They don't want to apologize, or they
Yeah.
refuse to believe that they had done anything wrong. But again, circling back before, everyone is just a constant work in progress, but a lot of it starts at a very young age, and then it starts with just really teaching people. So.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I agree.
absolutely. It's like, okay, so no, we're not perfect now, but at least we're like aware
Yes.
of when we're not. Like before, I think that I would just like bitch and just say like shitty things all the time, not even think about it.
Yeah.
Just be so like caught up in your own ego to even think about like what's coming out of your own mouth.
Yeah.
How that's gonna affect or hurt people.
Yeah.
And then I feel like now, like, and maybe you can attest to that too, like, I like to put myself in other people's shoes. And my biggest focus lately has been, like, allowing people to grow.
Yes.
Like, you knew that person, and yeah, they were kind of like a jerk 3 years ago, but, like, that was 3 years ago.
A lot can change.
Yes.
A
You have
lot
to, like,
can
put
change.
yourself in their shoes. Like, am I the same person that I was 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Probably not.
And
If you
just-
were,
Yeah, and
might
just
wanna
like
check
I
it
was
out.
telling you, it's been probably about 2 years since I've seen you guys. And me now compared to who I was even 2 years ago, nowhere near the same.
oh, same.
I think
Yeah.
even like a year ago would
Yeah.
be like way different. People change, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You should grow.
No, I think it's great.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing that you don't realize until, like, you're in it.
Yeah.
It might circle back to that whole 28 thing
There
where
we go
like
again.
you
It
just
just might.
yeah, it might, because I swear
telling you.
that's when my mindset was completely different.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm officially an adult.
I felt like
Graduated.
that when I started paying rent at like 19. But like, yeah, I mean, turning 28 absolutely was like, it was really awesome. But
Yeah.
usually, like, the weird thing is, I was like, usually it's around my birthday that like my depression episodes get really bad.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why
But,
is
like,
that, you think?
I have no idea. Like last year when I turned 27, I went through probably one of the worst episodes that I'd gone through in a few years. Like it lasted a couple months.
Oh, wow.
And I was literally just crying all the time, like in the car, at work, at home, in the store. And I couldn't figure out why I was so fucking sad all the time. And like once I like was like crying at work in a bathroom stall and I couldn't figure out why, that's when I was like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. But eventually it passed, just like it always does. But it's something about my birthday, man. I don't know.
Now, did you feel like this when you turned 28? Or
So 28 was okay. So 28 was like really weird because I went away for the weekend for a hockey tournament with a big group of my friends, and it was supposed to be like this 3-day thing. And I left like the second day because like the first day was really awesome. And then later that night there was a waitress, and this circles back to I was hanging out with all couples, so
okay.
it doesn't bother me. But this waitress at this restaurant said something really shitty to me that like put me in the worst mood. And like our whole group was supposed to go out to Dave and Buster's later that night, and I was in such a terrible mood. Like we headed back to the hotel, and I laid in my bed and I acted like I was just going to sleep because I like just wanted to cry. And so my friends were like, hey, we're leaving, are you coming with us? And I said like, no, I'm just really tired. When like they know this now. I ended up telling them, like I just like stayed back in the hotel and I just like cried a bit, just like let it all out. And I texted my friend, I was like, hey, I'm gonna take an Uber ride home. We were out in Fraser, so it's not a cheap Uber ride.
Right.
So, but like I didn't want to be the downer, you know, like this stupid waitress put me in the worst mood. And that's another thing, is my biggest piece of advice to myself always is I can only let other people make me feel how I allow them to. And that night, I let that waitress ruin my whole night. And I'm so mad at myself for that now. But I didn't want to be like...
But you're human. Like, you feel emotions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't want to be the Debbie Downer of the group. So I ended up going home, and it was like the worst Uber ride home ever. But like I got home, and I like cried to my mom a little bit, and then I was over it. So...
Can I ask what she said?
So I was with, like I said, I was with all couples, and typically that does not bother me.
Yeah.
But like, first of all, when she was ordering our drinks, she skipped right over me and went, like, because she was going down one side of the table, and then I was sitting across on the end of the other side. Skipped over to me, went to the other couples, and then went back to me. And so at first it was like, okay, that was kind of rude, you know?
Right.
So then when she was coming out to take our order, I was already a little pissed off over that.
Yeah.
So like she's going down the other side first, and it's like all couples, and then again she skips over me and goes to the couples. So like, okay, I'm seeing like a pattern here, like whatever. But all the couples are like, yeah, we're on the same bill, and then she gets to me, I was just like, I'm on my own bill, and she's like, she points to everyone sitting around me, she's like, I kind of figured. And like, I immediately almost wanted to be an asshole, and like I wanted to make up some scenario like, how do you know my boyfriend's not like in the military or something and just isn't here? Like, I wouldn't say that because it's a lie, and that's a terrible thing to lie about, but I really just wanted to make her feel bad for making such a stupid comment.
Yeah, you can't assume something,
or
let alone even say it to the person.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like,
exactly.
God, what if it was even worse than that? What if he had like passed or something?
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to
know,
feel normal, bitch.
Yeah,
Leave me alone.
you never know someone's situation. So I just found that so incredibly rude. It put me in the worst mood for the rest of the night.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
So I ended up going home.
Sometimes stuff just puts a sour taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
yeah, that's fucked up.
0 out of 10 will not be going back to that restaurant.
No, I don't blame you.
Never.
You just can't
Isn't that
assume
crazy?
that
Like,
shit.
one person can make you feel that way about the entire experience. 'Cause I bet you don't even remember if like anything else was good. 'Cause that whole experience was ruined by
Like,
that person.
she ruined my whole, like, what was supposed to be like my whole birthday weekend. I was there with my best friends. I was watching hockey.
Right.
Like, I was in my prime, and I let this one stupid lady ruin my whole weekend. But it's like, what if she would have said that to the wrong person that really was like going through something?
Yeah.
So.
And sent them into like a depression or something because they were trying to not think about it, and then just someone just randomly is like, oh yeah. Yeah, that's not cool.
Do you have like a crazy Uber story?
I don't really ever take Uber. So I think that, I mean, like, I've used it in Chicago with my friend before, but like the story with this one was like this old man picked me up from our hotel. Like, not to be mean, but he looked like he could have like keeled over and croaked at any moment.
Oh wow.
He was
Like,
very
could
sweet.
possibly take his last breath at any moment.
I was like, are you gonna make it all the way down to Trenton? I feel so terrible saying that. That's mean. I take it back.
Is it adorably old?
He was adorable.
Man.
He was. But we made it like a couple miles away from the hotel, and he said that like his tire was really low on air, and he needed to stop at the gas station to put air in it, and asked me if that was okay. I was like, I don't think I really have a choice, you know.
Right.
But I was like, yeah, that's fine.
This is by the mile, right?
So like we pull into the gas station, and he like, first of all, he almost hits this other truck that's at the air pump. And it's like this huge truck with this big burly dude in it. I was like, wow, we're about to get our shit rocked here, probably. He almost backed right up into this truck. Thankfully, he didn't. And so he gets out of the car. He has his car backed up so close to this truck. And like I saw the guy that owned it walk into the gas station, and he backs up so close to it, and he's standing outside just next to the car just waiting. And I was like,
God.
this is so awkward. So the guy like comes out and sees how close like the guy is parked to him. He doesn't say anything. And I'm like watching this guy. So I was like, if shit's about to go down, I'm going to run out of this
I'm
car.
out.
Yeah, I'm gone.
I was honestly a little nervous because I also wasn't familiar with the area at all. So he like eventually ends up putting air in the tire, and I'm like looking at this guy's dash, and that light is not turning off for the low air pressure. I was like, this isn't good. And so he gets back in the car and sees that that light is done. He's like, you're gonna have to get another car. So I'm already like in a terrible mood. I'm like a couple miles away from the hotel. So he charges me for like the 2 miles that he drove me, and then we have to sit there for 30 minutes waiting for another car to come get me.
Oh my God. Were you by yourself?
I was by myself.
Oh,
So
of course, right? Right.
it was just the most, like, it's not a crazy story, but I mean, it was very awkward and uncomfortable. And then like the whole drive home, I'm like sitting in the back of this Uber on a Saturday night, like crying. I'm like, all right, this is 28.
Okay, so we went on vacation last year. This is my crazy Uber story, so I might as well share
I'm
it just because it
excited.
was kind of crazy. So we went on vacation like a year and a half ago now. This was like April of 2017. So we went to WrestleMania, and we were just like, all right, we're gonna Uber there, we're gonna Uber back, because it's not worth it to drive, it's not worth it to pay for parking, whatever. So we get an Uber back. Well, I guess everyone in the entire stadium had that same idea. So Uber was like on overdrive, like all their servers were overloaded. These Uber drivers were like walking around yelling people's names, like, is this, this person, is this person? So then there's this older guy, and we had been on and off the phone with our own Uber guy trying to find him in this like packed street area full
Yeah,
of
good
people
luck with
looking for
that.
Ubers and Ubers, and it was just a mess. So this random guy's walking around in like a suit, and he was like yelling someone's name, and Nick was like, hey bro, like that's not me, but like, So then the guy was like, all right, like he was like, because I can't find this guy, I can't like I guess you can't like re-ask for another person until like that person has agreed to like close out the transaction or whatever.
Okay.
So like he couldn't close it out. He was like, I've been here for 45 minutes looking for this person, like if y'all want to get in, like $40 out the door, which we were like 45 minutes away from our hotel, so that wasn't bad.
Yeah.
$40. So we were like, all right, that'll be our thing. So we get in the car, and like I'm already kind of getting creepy vibes from this guy, but like I was trying to like, whatever. Well, like he's got like bottles of water sitting back there, and like Nick and I are sitting in the back seat, and like I went to go like drink the water, and Nick like hit my hand. He was like, don't fucking drink that water. What the fuck?
I'm scared of
And
where
then
this
like
is going.
so like this guy's sitting in the front, he's like saying weird things, we're like stuck in traffic, and he's like starts telling us stories, which I mean I guess make small talk, whatever, like maybe you should be an Uber driver if you like to just talk to people like that, but he's telling creepy ass stories about like Louisiana shit where they're like cutting off chickens' heads and like doing weird shit with like cutting off these chicken heads and stuff, and he was like talking about the axe and like how messy it was and all of this stuff, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
I'd
And
be
I'm,
like,
holding Nick's
can you
hand,
drop us off
and
here?
Nick was like, he like nudged me, and he like pulled on the door handle, and the parental locks were on,
Oh
so like
my
we
God.
couldn't open the doors. And he was like, hey man, can you crack my window? And he was like, yeah, and then like we're stuck in traffic. He's like, do you guys want me to take the back roads? Nick was like, nah, we're good. You can stay right on the freeway.
Oh my God.
And I mean, we made it home alive, obviously, but it was like my heart was like
That's
palpitating out of my chest
scary.
the whole time.
Holy
So
shit.
never know what you're gonna get with Uber.
I thought you were going to
Especially
say that you
'cause we
guys
didn't
jumped
have
out the window.
No, we didn't have this guy's info though, because remember it wasn't like a formal Uber.
Oh my God.
So this was all like under the table.
So you don't even know he was an actual
Yeah, I
like
had
chauffeur
no idea.
driver.
Right, and it was creepy as
So
fuck.
you didn't even know his name.
No, I mean, we know what he told us, but I
He
don't
didn't have
remember what
like
it is
any
now.
sort of like credentials like on the back of the front seat or anything.
And he had to use my phone because his servers were down.
Girl,
Oh my God, no.
So
That's
he
like a
took my
Lifetime
phone.
movie waiting
He
to
took
happen.
my phone, and my phone was in the front of the car.
He took your phone.
I
No.
know. If I wouldn't have been with Nick, I for real would have like died of a heart attack in the back. That
Literally, that's like the beginning of a movie.
Yeah.
Ooh, you guys want to? We can write
We're
that.
plotting right now.
I've never taken
I want
Uber.
royalties.
Well, just don't go by yourself. Clearly,
Oh, well, I would
oh
never.
my god.
I probably would
the
rather
freaks
walk
come
home.
out at night.
Yeah, no. Never by myself. If
shit's
I ever
crazy.
had to take one.
All right, so we did get an email submitted. Do you want to answer it with us?
Sure.
All right, cool. It's about friendship.
Oh, nice.
So it's split into like 3 parts. So I'm gonna read the first part, or did you want to read the first part?
Oh, I don't care.
Go ahead.
Just the first part?
Yeah, she's got it numbered. So I think we just decided unless they request to be mentioned, we're just gonna leave everything anonymous.
Yeah,
so,
that makes sense.
But she put it in like 3 different parts and was like, just kind of take it or embellish it as you will. So.
Well, you can.
All right. All right, so the first one, now again, I'm not rewording her words or anything like that. We're just going to kind of take it as it hits us. So if you have a BFF that you feel super close to at times, you can express your heart and soul to this person, and then at other times you feel like you are walking on eggshells. How do you handle that? Let's say you tell them something for some reason they didn't want to know or felt you shouldn't have told them because they didn't ask specifics on what to do. Okay, so with that one, I feel like she is expressing herself, and sometimes she's like, why aren't you expressing yourself to me? And then sometimes she's like, you're expressing yourself too much to me. So how do you deal with a friend like that? Like, you feel like you're walking on eggshells. Is that a friend?
I'd be really stressed out over it.
Right, I feel
Yeah.
stressed reading this, honestly.
Yeah. I
feel
feel like
stressed for
if
them.
if you're friends,
Yeah.
especially like I would say at our age, I don't know if you could consider that a friend. If
No.
you shouldn't have to walk on eggshells with a friend.
Yeah.
I feel like you should, if you want a strong friendship, I feel like you have to be open.
Yeah.
You have to be able to say what's on your mind without obviously like hurt. I mean, I don't know. Depends on the situation, I guess. But I feel like you should be open
Yeah.
and like honest and talk about it.
The important thing is like, it's not a true friendship if you feel like you have to walk on eggshells, because the biggest thing with me is it doesn't matter what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. And
yeah.
I was just reading like ahead a little bit. So in the second part, she kind of like summarizes it a little bit better. Do you feel that you are truly close to someone, that you consider them your absolute BFF? You should be able to talk to them about anything going on with them, or there are such things as problems with their marriage, finance, children is in that territory that you should be able to talk about, right? Because I feel like I can't always talk about those with her.
I think it depends on the situation. Like, if it comes to finances, I'm not going to give you my input unless you ask for it, because it's your money. I'm not going to tell you how to spend it. But like, when it comes to like other things, like, I guess really not with marriage either. And I just say this with most of my friends being married.
Yeah.
But like,
I was just listening to a podcast the other day, and I thought it was really weird, and the fact that you just said that kind of like triggered me to it. But she was like, how weird is it that girls will sit in a circle and they'll talk about like their sex experiences and like, I don't know, like a rash or like, I don't know, like a nipple hair or
so
something
true.
like that. But then it's like, how much do you make? And everyone's just like closed up like a clam. And it's so weird, 'cause it's like, what's more personal, honestly?
I think we're all just like, when you're growing up and everything, people always just make it sound like you're not supposed to ask someone
Yeah,
how
I
much
think
money
it's-
they
I
make.
think it's one
but
of
then
those
again, you don't
things.
ask about people's rashes either.
I mean, no, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know, like, I would sit with a group of my, like, close friends and talk about, like, I don't know, something weird going on, or, like, oh, this happened, or, like, I snort, or I, like, sweat my ass off the other day, or whatever,
I'm
you know what I
sweating
mean?
my ass off right now.
It's so hot in here, I'm so sorry. We can't have any fans going or
Just
anything.
don't
because
judge
of the
me if I
noise.
stand up and I have like sweat all
This
over
is
my
the,
shirt.
no, you're
the
fine.
no judgment zone. We don't do that here. But then it's like at the, like, what's more personal? That or like, I don't know. It's kind of weird, right?
It's literally a
I
society
understand,
thing, I think.
but I
Yeah.
still think that it's kind of weird.
It is weird, but I personally, like, I feel like you should, you should be able to talk to your friends about
Yeah.
things. Like, you should feel comfortable. But it's okay to leave some of your stuff private.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have, even if they are your best friend, you don't have to tell them, like, every little thing that's going on in your marriage.
Yeah.
Or, you know, especially because, like I've said before, like, Chris and I are kind of private people. Like,
I am too.
Yeah,
I'm big
we're,
time
like-
private. My
like-
friends know that.
yeah, and he doesn't like our business out there. Like, he doesn't mind if, like, I go to my mom or, like, I don't know, just a friend for, like, just to vent.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't, like, you know, we don't put, like, our arguments on Facebook or anything
God.
like that.
I
Like,
hate when
I
people do
hate
that.
that so
Same.
much. Listen, girl,
Same.
all you're doing is making yourself like you're just letting people judge you for reasons that they shouldn't be able to judge you on.
Could you imagine being almost 30 years old and posting your arguments on social
oh my
media?
God.
That is one thing, like,
Or
'cause,
even
okay,
older.
Nick and I started dating like really young, so like
Yeah.
we totally could have gone through that phase where like you did put everything out there,
Well,
but we
yeah.
didn't because Nick has always been super private.
Yeah.
Our relationship's kind of 50-50 because I'm more of a wear everything on my sleeve and he's more of a super duper private. So
Yeah.
it's like he kind of evens me out with that, and then I even him out with the other thing. So
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah, that's why I said, like, it's okay to talk to your friends and get advice, or especially if they've been through it, or like you and I are married, so it's like easy to come to you, like,
Yeah.
because you know that Nick and Chris can be similar sometimes, so it's like you understand. So it's like that's okay, but you don't have to. I don't feel like you have to like tell them every little thing that's
Yeah.
going on, because you should keep a lot of your stuff private.
Yeah.
No matter who it is. I mean,
Yeah. And then just to like, so she did split it up into 3 parts. So the third part is it weird if you don't have a lot of friends because your family is basically your friend realm?
No.
I don't think so either.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah,
always.
absolutely. I feel like there's no reason to stress about if they're your friend, if they're your family. It's like the people that are close with you are the people that are close with you. Be it a friend, be it a family member, like it's I feel
Yeah,
like you
it
just
doesn't
happen
matter.
to be close with the people
so is
that
the
you happen to be
question
close
like, is
with.
it weird that she has more family than friends?
Yeah.
Is that what it?
She's like, is it weird that I don't have a lot of friends because my family's basically my friends?
No, I
If anything, I think
No.
it's like people want that. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Because a lot of people don't have that.
Right,
Some
yeah.
people aren't that close to their family.
Yeah, I don't think it matters if it's family or not. As long
Right.
as you've got a good support group
Yeah.
and people that you can talk to, it doesn't matter. You know.
Oh yeah, for sure. So do you, girl?
Absolutely. Also, just a really quick side note: your highlight looks so good.
Oh, thank
Girl. Hey.
Not to get
that
off topic, but
natural light
I needed
through
to
the
tell
window.
you.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, we're so happy that you told us.
No, but yeah, that's. I don't think it matters.
No.
As long as you have, like Randy said, as long as you have the support, that's really all that matters.
All right, so then just to like recap, give me like a 1-2 liner like advice for like how to be a boss babe in your late 20s and just be comfortable in your own skin.
Oh my God, that's like really putting me
Word
on
to
the
the wise.
Basically, just be your own motivator. Really, that's the biggest thing. You know, give yourself pep talks if you need it. Do shit that really makes you happy. Get out of the house and get some fresh air and enjoy Michigan summers.
Absolutely.
Circling back to the cars
Yeah,
that are outside.
Some
right
people
now.
would be surprised at how, I don't know, like how great it feels to just literally step outside and just like enjoy like the nature and the
Yes.
fresh air and
Go
like,
out there without your phone, without
Yes.
headphones.
and just listen
Yes.
to like the birds or just like the trees and
My
like
backyard
the
is my
wind.
sanctuary
Yeah.
in these months. Absolutely. I don't even want to think about what I'm going to do when it's too cold to go out there because that's my
Yeah.
place. It's my happy place. And I'm glad that it's right in my backyard, right around the corner.
My favorite place is about a 4-hour train ride away, but that's okay.
My heart is in Chicago. All right, y'all. This is the wonderful Miss Randi Parrish. Thank you for hanging out with us
Yeah,
tonight.
thank you
I
again.
think everything went great. We love you.
It was a
Okay.
pleasure.
It was fun. Thanks.
See you next week, y'all.
Bye.